Impossible meatballs, a can of tomato sauce, gnocchi, every can of vegetables in the pantry. Put it all together, boil the Jim Christ out of it, put it in a big thermos, drive it down the street to your weird lefty son in his hovel. My mama calls it democracy soup. Annie Fitzgerald. I'm such a ball of nerves today. Me too. Also, I lied to you just then. She doesn't call it democracy soup. She changed the name. She calls it victory soup. So I'm also a ball of nerves, and so is my mama, and so is my sisters, so is my brother, are my friends, so are the lads and lasses from around the internet. You got more reason than the rest of us, truth be told, Annie. Anti-corporatist. Hello, my friend. You get the trophy, by the way. In fact, let's do this right. I got live chat replay on. I don't want people seeing me fail to give you the due credit. Boom. Gang, we stand at a fork in the road, and down one path is a game of pure survival. And we can do it, and we will if necessary. And in the trenches together, we'll always have each other. But down the other path, there is the America that was promised if we can walk it. Let's hope Harris wins. Let's build that America together. But the work's done for today. So we're going to have a wicked good time. It's just us here. This is for voters only. So if you voted, welcome. Nothing to do but watch the results. We're going to go over all the events, all the ups and downs of this insane campaign. We're going to talk about strategy and what we thought of how everybody did. We are going to discuss right out of the gate, and then throughout the night go over it many times, just exactly what we need to win, what we're looking for. And then, of course, when the evening comes, we're going to be looking at those results. It is entirely possible. It's entirely possible that that we'll know tonight If that's the case, oh boy, that means it's a landslide. But we'll see. Oh, Annie Fitzgerald, I'm going to be drunk or high tonight. Well, speaking of. I couldn't find Red Dog. So I got a heaping helping of Bud Light. I also got a bottle of whiskey and a can-do attitude. I don't think any of it's going to survive till the morning. Same, says the anti-corporatist, of course. Ew, to the Bud Light. That's true. Annie Fitzgerald famously hates the trans community. So we're sorry, I just threw you under the bus like that. But in my defense, it was fun. Oh no! I'll help you with the whiskey. All right, you're back in everybody's good graces. Yeah, the whiskey's delicious. Ooh, I got Irish whiskey, ginger beer, and whipped cream. Oh boy, that is going to be fun, AC. Well, let's turn to what we need to win. Let's turn. What are we looking for here over the course of the night? For an earnest look at American politics, the best thing to do is go to the BBC. I believe the link is in the description. Oh, first and foremost, verily, and so on and so forth. I'm changing this back. I'm changing this background back. Let's go mango. Ooh, I don't like what that implies. Let's go bisexual. I think that's more my speed. Fair enough. So, this is all very strange, isn't it? Custom layout? How about nope? Let's do this. So, path to win is 270 votes in the Electoral College. In fact, I'm sorry, I'm looking at this. I'm just going to go full screen with this. We need 270 votes in the. Why you like this? All right. 270 votes needed in the Electoral College. Here we go. There are 50 states in the U.S., and most of them vote for the same party, Democratic or Republican, at every election. That leaves just a handful of states where either candidate could win. At this election, there are 7. Now, they're dividing it up between the Sun Belt and the Rust Belt because those are the two paths to victory. They tend to vote together. It's 2 different strategies to reach these states. They also, the Sun Belt tends to lean Republican, whereas the Rust Belt, less so, unfortunately, but tends to lean Democrat. There are known swing states that can be divided into 2 groups, the Sun Belt and the Rust Belt. We already went over that. But let's jump down to the good stuff. So this is what is assumed. It's not promised, but this is what is assumed that right out of the gate, Harris and Trump are going to get 226 fairly certain electoral votes for Harris, 219 for Trump. That means Harris has a shorter path to get to 270. The Rust Belt route is very, I don't know that I would say very likely. I think it's the most likely of these scenarios for Harris. The issue being Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has elected multiple traitors to government since January 6th. So that gives you a sense of the type of news media that's being consumed by voters there, which means they're being lied to about Harris, which means she's got an uphill battle. But nonetheless, it is possible. So here's a list of the. Let me just put myself back up. Here's a list of the states, the strongholds that Trump flipped. Notice that in 2016, first of all, they tend to vote as a block. Second of all, Trump flipped Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2016. In 2020, not so. Not so. Just checking my Discord. There we are. One second. Let me just read what they're writing here. Industrial heritage, yada yada. I want to get to the here we go. The part about Pennsylvania. According to some projections, the candidate who wins Pennsylvania has upwards of a 90% chance of winning the White House. It's that important. It's a lot of electoral votes. For context, Harris needs 44 votes from one of these swing states. 19 of them could come from Pennsylvania. It's just about half of what she needs from one state. It's that important. Pennsylvania, in a way, is a microcosm of the United States. It has big cities dominated by Democrats and Republican-friendly rural areas. Its demographic makeup is similar to the country overall. It has new technology companies and old industries, energy extraction, and agriculture. A candidate can't be a one-trick pony and win in Pennsylvania. It is the place that both campaigns have been investing the most time and resources in. And polls almost universally show the state sitting on a knife's edge. Boy. All right, so here's the Sun Belt strategy. This is Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, and Georgia. First of all, Foxy, I think, won us Nevada. So credit there if she wins. The Sun Belt delivers 49 votes in total. The states in the southern U.S. are often referred to as the Sun Belt for the obvious reason that they have a hotter climate than those in the north. There are 4 swing states in the south at this election: Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and North Carolina. As with the Rust Belt, Harris would become president if she won all 4. I got to tell you, it's not impossible. I don't think it's likely. It's really not impossible. Particularly because Georgia has been going bluer and bluer, and there's been hopeful talk in North Carolina recently. A lot of exit polling looks good for Harris, but we shall see. However, it feels like an unlikely path to victory for Harris, as the Democrats haven't won all 4 of these states since Harry Truman was elected in 1948. Yeah. If Trump swept all the swing states in the Sun Belt, he would still need to pick up one more state. But unlike the Democrats, Republicans do have a history of sweeping these states. Since the Civil Rights Act upended the political map in the 1960s, President Nixon, Reagan, Bush, and Bush Jr. each won all 4 of these states at one or more elections. There are 2 key groups that could help decide the results in the Sun Belt: Black and Latino voters. In both Georgia and North Carolina, and a large percentage of eligible voters are Black. Harris will hope she can match Joe Biden's performance with those voters. He won 92% of all Black votes across the U.S. in 2020, but some recent polls have suggested Harris is struggling to hit similar numbers. Arizona and Nevada have fast-growing Latino populations, and for a long time, Democrats assumed an increase in Latino voters in any state would automatically increase their chances of winning. But Donald Trump surprised many by making inroads with Latino voters at the last 2 elections, with his perceived strength on the economy being particularly attractive. Hey, real quick, I know that not all Latinos are Puerto Rican, but you got to admit that the Kill Tony appearance had to have hurt him. It had to have hurt him. Like, I am not Irish. I'm a white guy, but I'm not Irish. And yet, if I saw somebody walking around saying, kill all Irish, I'd get a little nervous. I would. Tinkerbell, local news is starting their results show at 6:45. I don't think the polls even close until 8. Right? Madness. Madness to start the coverage that early. Who would start their coverage so early? Back to the coverage. No, I look. This is the Super Bowl for their political team. They're gonna milk it for everything it's worth, and also I think the talent there just are gonna want to talk about it. They just ran a terribly sad story about a very young, terminally ill man, Jesus, casting his one and only vote. That is sad. I'm so sorry for that guy. Yeah, I really want to hear some on the ground saying, like, if there's armed people at polls and stuff, fair enough. Tinkerbell making fun of the terminally ill man. Now, see, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But that's you. Let me jump back now. However, Republicans are concerned that widely reported comments about, oh, hey, here we go, about Puerto Ricans and other Latinos by speakers at Trump's recent Madison Square Garden rally. Oh, yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe also offended just all immigrants by saying he welcomes them with open arms, but like that. Trump's recent Madison Square Garden rally, which leaned, I think, heavily on racist stereotypes, could undo some of those gains. Trump key state is North Carolina. Got to raise up, throw your hands up, take your shirt off. Yeah, take your shirt off, swing it around your head, swing it like a helicopter. Donald Trump held North Carolina in the last 2 elections, and it wasn't considered a swing state until Kamala Harris took over the Democratic ticket. If Trump failed to hold North Carolina, his route to the White House becomes much harder, and he would need to win at least 2 of the Rust Belt states and 2 more in the Sun Belt. That state has only voted for the Democratic candidate once since 1980, for President Obama in 2008, but there is a chance Harris could take it if she can inspire black voters to turn out as they did for Obama, and she picks up votes from the recent influx of college educated voters. I'm going to just skip their persuadables thing because I don't think that's very likely. Repeats and sweeps. Previous winners in swing states in the Rust Belt. Trump just crushed them in 2016, but he lost them handily to with Michigan. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, with Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2020. The Sun Belt Biden nearly swept in 2020. Nevada, Trump has never won. Now, frankly, that's a surprise to me. I don't know why, but I was so sure Trump had won Nevada before, but apparently not. I'm hoping that line at the bottom with all the blue boxes but one with North Carolina, I'm hoping that's a full blue line this time through. And if that happens or is even on the path to happening, you can believe that election's getting called tonight. The polls suggest this could be one of the closest elections in history, but should we be surprised if it isn't? Not really. In fact, we should expect polls to be slightly out because they're designed to broadly explain how the public feels about a candidate, not predict the result in a swing state by less than a percentage point. The average gap between Harris and Trump across all 7 swing states at the moment is just over 1 percentage point. The average state level polling error in the last 6 presidential elections was just over 4 points. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about possible outcomes in this election. One other thing. Polling has suffered with one major issue this time around, which is that they're terrified of being wrong, and so they're deferring to other polls. They are so that means basically there's a biased towards a tie in the polls, which means all the polls we saw up until now were weighted towards a close race simply because they're relying on other polls. But those other polls are relying on other polls, and so on and so forth. It's madness. Trump has worse luck with casinos than most. That's true. I wore my gold grills to vote. That's not voter intimidation. That's just stunting on him. Yeah. Yeah. It's not a surprise to me he never wins anything that has to do with casinos, says the anti-corporatist. Facts. Facts. Baker Bell with a well-earned why I oughta. Oh, God. So here's a possibility. Tied election. There are combinations of states that could leave the final result with Harris and Trump tied on 269 votes each. The most frequently discussed of these is Kamala Harris failing to pick up the single vote she is expected to win in Nebraska. Nebraska is one of only 2 states which assign some of their electoral college votes to the winners in individual districts rather than giving all of them the candidate with the most votes in the state as a whole. Without that single vote from Nebraska's 2nd district, the Democrats' most likely path to victory, winning all 3 Rust Belt states, would result in a tie instead. The president is then decided by a vote in Congress, with each state getting a single vote, unlike the Electoral College, where states with more citizens get more votes. This would almost certainly result in Donald Trump being elected president, as the Republicans tend to win more states at each election, despite the Democrats receiving more votes in total across the country at 7 of the last 8 presidential elections. The only one where they didn't, I will point out to you, was in 2003/4 presidential election, wherein we were at war. And the country was war crazy at the time, and there was that banding together. It really didn't have anything to do with the person in office. It was the nation enduring a tragedy together. In other words, Republicans don't last, can't survive in a true democracy, in a direct democracy. There would be no Republican Party. Unexpected patterns. There are scenarios that would result in a draw without the Republicans winning Nebraska's 2nd district. For instance, if Trump swept the Rust Belt and Harris took all the Sun Belt except Nevada, they would finish with 269 votes each, but it seems unlikely to happen because if Harris was winning like that in the South, you would expect her to also sweep up Nevada. Similarly, Trump winning only 3 states, the only 3 states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, would result in a tie. However, if his political message proved that popular in Michigan and Pennsylvania, wouldn't he also take Wisconsin? Then again, this election is so close in the polls, maybe the swing states could follow a pattern no one expected. I will say this with the polls. Oh, I didn't put that back up. Oh well. I will say this in regards to the polling being weighted towards existing polls. If there was a giant difference, if a pollster was out there and just everybody was saying Harris, 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 they would be confident in their poll. So even if these polls are being weighted with the past polls, resulting in a more narrow, closer looking election, it doesn't change the fact that, it's close regardless. Whoa! Well, hello, Sandy. Dang it. Hi, Sandy. Good to see you, my friend. Hi, everybody. I've been doing a lot of cleaning and working hard because it's very freakishly warm here. I don't want to do too much politics, but I like to listen to you, Jake. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, Pinkerbell says, winner take all is stupid. Any state with more than 3 electoral votes should be proportionally split. I think that's correct. Yeah, I just want to get rid of the electoral college entirely. Morbius Dragon, hello. Oh, mercy me. Let's have a gander. Oh, look at that. There's a couple of streams live. Let's have a quick gander at some of the controversies. Hmm. So, if y'all recall, we're gonna do one more. Y'all recall, Trump is actually in somewhat hot water legally. The day after Trump announced he was running for president, we heard this from special counsel Jack Smith.
Good evening. Today, an indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. The indictment was issued by a grand jury of citizens here in the District of Columbia, and it sets forth the crimes charged in detail. I encourage everyone to read it in full. The attack on our nation's capital on January 6th, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, it was fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election. The men and women of law enforcement who defended the U.S. Capitol on January 6th are heroes. They are patriots and they are the very best of us. They did not just defend a building or the people sheltering in it. They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people. They defended the very institutions and principles that define the United States. Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day. This case is brought consistent with that commitment, and our investigation of other individuals continues. In this case, my office will seek a speedy trial so that our evidence can be tested in court and judged by a jury of citizens. In the meantime, I must emphasize that the indictment is only an allegation and that the defendant must be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I would like to thank the members of the Federal Bureau of Investigation who are working on this investigation with my office, as well as the many career prosecutors and law enforcement agents from around the country who have worked on previous January 6th investigations. These women and men are public servants of the very highest order, and it is a privilege to work alongside them. Thank you.
But it was not a speedy trial. It was not at all, because Trump did everything in his power to delay it until after this election. He wanted to make sure that he had another unfair opportunity to dodge responsibility for his actions which got people killed. Multiple cops, his own supporters. One person died of a meth overdose during the riot. Now, you might think he didn't give her the meth, but he sure caused the riot. Would have been great if, she had done that meth and emergency services had been able to get to her in time to save her. Or Brian Sicknick, who got bashed in the head with a fire extinguisher by one of the rioters and then died the next day from complications relating to that. Some officers took their own lives when they saw that the side that they had been on up until that day were a bunch of animals. But then, of course, there was Ashley Babbitt, who was killed while attempting to breach the Capitol. She was shot by a police officer who frankly had no choice. She was crawling through a broken window as they were pointing guns at her and telling her to stop. She was breaking the law. They shouted, "Hang Mike Pence." You guys know the whole deal. All that. Trump is right now trying to dodge responsibility for again. That's how this election season started. And over the last year, we all aged 10 years. More on that in a moment. Sandy, your crowd wants you to go live. Look, I get it. Take time for you, for God's sake. Gather yourself. You've earned these things. But if you find that you want to go live, but just a little bit, just a smidge, you just want to pop on for a moment, there's a link in Discord. You can jump on this stream if you want at any time. I'm going to be going throughout the night. Don't feel like you have to. You don't even feel like you have to respond to this because right now you don't feel like it. I'm just saying later, if you want to have some brewskis. Jesus. Want to have some brewskis and talk with your old pal Jake and just reflect on what the last crazy year has been like. That's what we're doing tonight. We're unwinding. We're blowing off steam, and we're watching the next 4 years of our lives be paved. Well, you might think with such a rough start, with such a
make sure that all those things we need to do.
Wait a minute. You might think with such a rough start, there would be no way this would be a close race. And you should be correct. You should be correct. But you wouldn't be. Now, in part, that was because half of America willingly gets their news from sources that lie to them. Fox News was found or had to settle, actually, a case that wherein it was revealed they knew the election in 2020 was not stolen. And yet they pretended like they didn't know that. And they continued to have people on casting doubts about the election because it was more profitable for them to deceive their audience, as it always is. But this time, their deceit affected a company which had the resources to sue them, and they settled for over $700 million. That's how badly Fox lied, how blatantly they lied. And there was also this. At the time, Joe Biden was the candidate.
Make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Oh,
he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death.
Oh boy. Well, that hurt. I'm not gonna lie. That one hurt. Wasn't it 1.6 million? No, it was the better part of $1 billion. Ooh. Sandy from Environmental Coffee House. Yeah, I cleaned out the cat litter area, which was a 2.5-hour job. I'm having someone come and put a cat door in my basement, so no more litter upstairs. Well, good. Ooh. 1 second. Yeah. Back to the election. So there was that horrible gaffe. Trump, Jean Carroll verdict. More ups and downs.
Danny,
In a civil trial during all of this, Trump was found to have raped Jean Carroll. That's right. Kamala Harris is currently running against a known rapist. Here's the news.
explain what this verdict means and the split nature of it on these questions.
The plaintiff here had really two claims. One was for defamation and the other was for the actual sexual assault. And the reason that happened was that originally the statute of limitations had long expired. So the plaintiff here filed a claim for defamation, essentially saying that when Trump called her a liar about her allegations of abuse, that Trump had defamed her. And of course, the jury agreed. Then when New York passed a statutory 1-year window for all previously expired claims of sexual abuse, civil claims, to be refiled, within half an hour of that statute going into effect, Carroll's legal team filed this civil rape case against Donald Trump. And of course, while the jury did not find that Trump raped Jean Carroll, they did find that he sexually abused her, which is really subjecting her to the sexual contact without her consent.
Now, it's important to note that's a New York specific law. The differentiating between the different kinds of sexual assault. In Michigan, where law is best, we call that rape. So Trump is a known rapist, as in discovered in court to be a rapist. Also worth noting, he's credibly accused of it, by many other people, including people who were children at the time.
So, I mean, this is a very, very clear message that, and I have to say, Lester, I have some of these cases that are under these 1-year window, and the challenge is always finding evidence from something that happened decades ago. And what Carroll's verdict tells us is that these cases can be prosecuted, notwithstanding the difficulty in tracking down evidence for an alleged assault that happened in an era that was essentially pre-internet, pre-email, pre-text messaging, and pre the proliferation of video cameras everywhere we go.
Many would argue that Access Hollywood tape, the deposition tape, did serve as sort of a testimony, as sort of a piece of evidence. We may know later on, but right now, looking at it, how important, impactful was that potentially to this case?
I'll go a step further, Lester. Without those pieces of evidence, this was an even odd situation. It could have gone either way. But the Access Hollywood tape, and not just the tape, Lester, but Trump in his deposition, apparently, by my knowledge, for the first time, doubling down on the Access Hollywood tape. You remember in 2016, Trump called that locker room talk. He tried to explain it away. But in this deposition, he appears to support to double down, to basically stand by his position earlier, saying something really, frankly, bizarre that, look, celebrities have been able to do this for 1 million years. And fortunately or unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And Laura Jarrett correctly pointed out, in what world is that ever fortunate? These were unforced errors. Trump didn't have to say things like the plaintiff wasn't his type. And you better believe that he handed the plaintiff gold when he said that in his deposition. Look no further than the plaintiff's closing argument. They used all of that evidence, and it was compelling. And I would argue that without that evidence, without Trump shooting himself in the proverbial foot, this would have been a much closer call. I think what Trump did in his deposition did nothing but inflame this jury and give them a really good reason to vote in favor of the plaintiff in this case.
Thanks for watching our YouTube.
I was eating some victory soup. Wasn't good. Well, the soup's delicious, but Trump did shoot himself in the foot, as he did throughout the entire campaign. The difference between Trump in a courtroom and Trump media appearances is that you can't lie in a courtroom, and the only person in the courtroom who spins for you is your lawyer. But ultimately, the spin is answered. A verdict is arrived at. If the spin is based on nonsense, in this case, Trump's blatant lies about E. Jean Carroll, the verdict isn't good. What was that lie that he told? I mean, just about everything he said about E. Jean Carroll was a lie, but what specifically were they referencing? Well, he said E. Jean Carroll wasn't his type. How can you tell that's a lie? Wouldn't you just have to trust somebody's personal assessment of their own feelings? No. No, they showed Trump a picture of E. Jean Carroll, and he said, "That's Marla." They said, "Do you know who's in this picture?" He said, "Yeah, that's Marla." Marla? Marla Maples. It's my ex-wife. No, sir. That's E. Jean Carroll. Oh, well, it's not a very good picture. Not his type, he says. But looking at a picture of her, he thought it was his ex-wife. Definitionally his type. That's the kind of person we're dealing with. That's the level of moron and the level of evil we're dealing with. He did it in his campaign too. It all ended with Kill Tony, but we're not there yet. Nope. You see, after that disastrous performance,
and so
whoopsie doodles. After that disastrous performance by Joe Biden at the presidential debate, Democrats got together and did something competent for the first time in the history of the Democratic Party existing, at least during my lifetime. They replaced him. That helped in two ways. Way number one, no longer had to deal with the rumors. Hell, it helped them in a lot of ways. But anyway, that helped Democrats in two major ways. No longer had to deal with the rumors of a mentally failing presidential candidate. Because now there was just one in the race, and that was Donald Trump. Thing number two, one that I think actually matters, the uncommitted vote, which had come out strongly against Biden's arming of a genocide, calmed down. I was part of that. I voted uncommitted in the primaries. They calmed down. Why? Because we had a new candidate. I say calmed down as opposed to disbanded, I guess, because we never quite got a promise from the next candidate that she would stop funding the genocide. But nonetheless, Biden stepped down and we got this.
On behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another, on behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America. And with this election,
Thank you so much, Sandy, for the very kind $5 super chat. You're doing a better job than I could have done, she says. That's a very kind lie. Thank you. Look, Jack, Harris got off to a great start. Her campaign was full of her campaign was full of ups and downs, but the ups were big and the downs were small. The best surprise of it was for progressives who
Kamala Harris
badly wanted a VP pick that was a
top of the hour.
Whoopsie doodles. A VP pick that had some progressive bona fides. And we didn't really get that, but we did get amongst the middle of the road folks, amongst the most progressive. And that was a gentleman by the name of Tim Walz.
And the breaking news is big in this unprecedented campaign, this season, the likes of which we have never seen before. We have one more major development. Vice President Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee now for President of the United States, has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. Week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe seen as a dark horse. Now he has emerged as the choice. Our MJ Lee, Jeff Zeleny, John King, Jamie Gangel, all reporting on this. MJ just saying maybe Walz, a vibes pick, seen as a Midwestern
happy voting day
warrior.
John
King is here with us in New York, watching this unfold before our eyes. Let's just start, reset at the top of the hour, what Tim Walz means for this ticket now.
It means, number one, the Democrats have their ticket. They're about to go into their convention. And after Kamala Harris clinched the nomination with the most unorthodox nominating process of our lifetime, the President of the United States steps aside after winning the primaries. She wins a virtual voting among the delegates. And then she wants to make this decision. She wants all this cleaned up before they get to Chicago for the convention. So that can all be about prosecuting the case against Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and against the Republicans. So a very truncated process, a lot of pressure on the vice president. So as voters out there get to judge, how she's handling this first big executive decision. So why Tim Walz? We're showing pictures of him right there in a jacket and a shirt with no tie on. Earlier, we had pictures of him in a T-shirt. I do think the contrast here is going to be striking. This is a small town Midwesterner. This is a man who won a Republican House seat and held it. In very difficult years for Democrats, he held on to it. So he has that small town rural appeal, which is why did Donald Trump pick J.D. Vance? Sort of the same idea. Can you go into small communities and make the case? He's the chairman of the Democratic Governors Association. I can tell you his fellow Democratic governors love him, love him. They think he's smart. They think he builds consensus. They think he's really funny. And so they like being in his company. And that matters in a campaign. In terms of Harris being out, are you confident that do you have the loyalty and do you trust your party?
That is a great point, Pinky. I was floored they picked him. Democrats did 2 good things in a row. This tells me, I think, that they have, as they get more and more afraid that doom is coming, that the end of democracy is coming with their screw-ups, they actually have some idea. Tell me if this audio goes to hell. They actually have some idea of how to be competent. They've just chosen not to, I guess. But yes, 2 in a row is amazing. Annie, you got to tell us how your results are doing as they come. But anyway, back to the story.
Partner out there in the campaign trail. Does that person at tense moments, and there will be a lot of tense moments in the next 90 days of this campaign, make you laugh and make you smile and maybe take some of the pressure off you? Can you do the small market television? Walz fits that bill. Now, we're going to see how he plays out. And again, I'll be a broken record on this. There is no data in the 37 years I've been doing this that says your vice presidential pick makes the difference in the end. However, it can hurt you. We could have a conversation about has Vance hurt Trump, or at least stalled Trump's momentum a little bit there. And it can help you in the idea that, again, popular with governors, that helps you raise money. Popular with governors, that helps get more people on the team. Popular in small town America, create a little buzz for Democrats in places maybe where they're not always seen. And that is one of the Democratic Party's problems. In the years I've been doing this, Michael Dukakis was my first campaign, 1988. He won 10 states.
Massachusetts miracle.
Iowa and West Virginia were states won by Michael Dukakis in 1988. Those who are blue-collar Democrats who worked with their hands on farms or in coal mines or in factories. The Democrats have lost those votes. Tim Walz knows how to win those votes. Again, the presidential candidate decides who wins the election. But a vice
Well, let's finish that.
presidential candidate can help a little bit. And she's made a governing choice here, too. A progressive governor who was in the military, in the House, then elected statewide and reelected statewide. So you have governing experience here, again, in a different mix, a Midwestern mix. She's a West Coast politician. So it's an interesting combination. Politics, I always call it a casserole, right? You're bringing all these.
All right, so she picked a progressive-leaning governor from the Midwest, a guy who's shown an ability to really win over Republicans as well as progressives. He's got a Midwestern dad appeal. Look out. Boy. Trump must have picked a humdinger for them to give us such a great candidate. Trump really must have picked a great vice presidential candidate. Here was J.D. Vance. You know what? I got a better one for you. Here's the first story we heard about J.D. Vance. Wait a minute. Here was J.D. Vance's first story.
God bless you guys.
Tonight, former President Trump's vice presidential nominee, J.D. Vance, at the center of a political firestorm over these resurfaced comments made in 2021.
Is that we're effectively run in this country via the Democrats, via our corporate oligarchs, by a bunch of childless cat ladies.
Vance seeming to imply that people without children shouldn't be in government.
You look at Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, AOC, the entire future of the Democrats is controlled by people without children.
Those claims sparking fierce backlash. Democrats opening up a new attack line on the GOP ticket, branding the newly minted pairing weird.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
It is bizarre. It's weird. It is weird.
Even Friends star Jennifer Aniston, who's spoken publicly about her struggles with infertility, writing on Instagram, Mr. Vance, I pray that your daughter is fortunate enough to bear children of her own one day. Vance initially offering this scathing reply.
First of all, that's disgusting because my daughter is 2 years old. And second of all, if she had fertility problems, as I said in that speech, I would try everything.
She did say one day, you weirdo.
I could to try to help her because I believe families and babies are a good thing. Obviously, it was a sarcastic comment. I've got nothing against cats.
Vance confronted about the issue again on Fox.
It just says so much. It just says so much that he doesn't understand the part that pissed people off. Obviously, I don't have anything against cats. Why are you yelling at me? And it's like he's offended that we would dare take something that he said to a group of scumbags. You know, he's with Tucker Carlson. He's like, let me just talk to the scum for a moment. We're going to kill him. We're going to kill him. I hate him. And we're going to kill him. And then we're like, you're going to kill us, dude? He's like, why would you? I was talking to him about something. I didn't want you to hear that. Childless cat ladies. Gays. I didn't want you to hear that. Obviously, I'm doing the Republican thing. I'm saying something to one group of people and then lying about it to another. It just says so much that he wasn't even able to understand why people were pissed at him. And he never figured it out. Also, the couch. Also, yes, Pete and Chasen have 2 children. 2 children. Votron! What's up, Wicked? Votron voted and then stood outside the polling place applauding my fellow citizens. Hell yeah. I complimented everyone and said they were patriotic citizen heroes, nonpartisan style. Good man, Votron. Excuse me. Good robot, Votron. I kept saying participation trophies all around. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, eventually, we got revenge for the first debate with the second. During the second debate, I'm sorry. During the second debate, Kamala Harris set out to demonstrate to the world how easy it is to get under Trump's skin. She wanted to show the U.S. voter that world leaders would and could easily manipulate Donald Trump for their own benefit. And it's not only through the bribes they gave him, like, for example, when they would buy out floors of his hotel and directly put money into his pockets in exchange for favorable treatment. It's also not even in direct ways necessarily, like how Russia gathers compromising evidence of Trump's activities and threatens him with it and makes him do what they want. No. You can do it in a conversation. You can do it with a compliment or an insult. She slapped him around that stage, held him up, and knocked him down again, over and over. And it culminated in the biggest gaffe Trump personally made, which is when in doubt, when he gets scared, because he's a scared little boy, he flees to racism. He started talking about the legal Haitian immigrants as though they in Springfield, Ohio. He called them out specifically. It's a Republican-run town, by the way. He called them out specifically. These people who were asked to move there by the government of Springfield because they were desperate for workers. These legal immigrants. And he said,
in Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
He said that. A dude running for president said those words with his mouth. He moved his meat lips and he said, they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. It caught on. it caught on. In fact, became a pop culture phenomenon. Yeah, it really blew up. You would think that would be the end of the election, but no. No, it was just heating up. Here's J.D. Vance inexplicably admitting that they lie about immigrants. Just straight up admitting that they lie about everything.
Officials, the mayor, other local officials have said there's just no evidence of what you're saying, that it's baseless, those claims. Can't you just make your argument about immigration without making those claims, Senator? Why not just make an argument about immigration? Why do you have to delve into repeating these baseless claims that, again, Senator, have been repeated by neo-Nazis?
Before he gives his insane answer, let me just focus in on his big, dumb, fat face. And this is somebody who personally is the owner of a big, dumb, fat face. You know, I get it. It's not his fault he's got a big, dumb, fat face. But you got to be aware of it. You know, it's like if your job requires you to carry a gun, it's not your fault that the job requires you to do that, but it is your job, and you have to be aware of where you're pointing that thing. And when you have a big, dumb, fat face like myself or J.D. Vance, don't point it down the barrel of the camera with a smug smile when somebody's telling you that you endangered the lives of thousands of Americans. Don't do that. And certainly when they inform you that you are promoting a lie that neo-Nazis like to say, don't proudly admit that you do.
Kristen, I hear you saying that they're baseless, but I'm not repeating them because I invented them out of thin air. I'm repeating them because my constituents are saying these things are happening. I mean,
but there's
just
no
yesterday,
evidence.
a video came out of a migrant 30 miles away eating a cat. Clearly, these rumors are out there because constituents are seeing it with their own eyes, and some of them are talking about it. Now, look, we also have to talk about and should primarily talk about the effects that this has had on car insurance rates, on disease rates. Those are the things that I'm spending 95% of my time talking about, Kristen. But again, the media didn't care about this story until we started sharing the 911 call about the geese. That is an indictment of the American media. But the real problem here, Kristen, let me just finish this point, is Kamala Harris opened the border with no plan for how to assimilate 20,000 people. It's made the community worse off. That's what we should be focused on.
Senator, I have to say, though, that the mayor from Dayton in that video that you're talking about and police chief responded forcefully to that new video you just referenced. They say there's absolutely no evidence to even remotely suggest that immigrants are eating pets.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories.
Mother Flipper admitted to it. Now, you'd think that would be the whole story. But here's the thing. This was a wilder election than even that. Donald Trump was doing his usual lies to America when who we would later find out was a Republican crawled up on a person who we would later find out was a Republican by the name of Thomas Crooks. At the very least a conservative, crawled up onto a nearby building with an AR-15 style rifle. You know, the thing Democrats have been saying we ought not to have just hanging around because it's not necessary for hunting, but it's real good at fighting wars on our soil. He took a shot at Trump. Oh, I should have warned you. You just heard the gunshots that killed a man. If Trump loses by one vote, it will be because a conservative tried to shoot at him and missed. The bullet sailed past and killed one of his constituents. Trump would later go on to say he hopes the media is sitting on the other side of him. So the next time that happens, gets one of them. Doesn't apparently give a shit about the guy that died at his rally. Anyway, here's Trump getting shot. Get those shoes. Worth noting. What does he do in that moment? Violence just broke out during a political rally. What would somebody with the nation's best interests in mind do? What would be their first instinct? Does he turn around and say, "Is everybody that was here okay?" No. Does he say, "Stay calm, everybody. Nobody panic"? No. He says, "Fight." Tells people to fight, doesn't he? That's who he is. He's not a good person. In other words, he's a villain, shot at by other villains. You know, says the anti-corporatist, thank God for that busybody in Florida who got a picture of the other shooter's license plate. Had he not done that, they would probably have been able to pin that on a Democrat. True. True. Obsessive Audio says the cats and dogs things came from neo-Nazi Telegram for a group called Blood Oath. Those guys are in Florida. Those are the guys in Florida waving Nazi flags. Yeah. Laura Loomer tweeted it and then got on a plane with Trump the night of the debate. Yeah, also, how could I forget? She definitely was having an affair with Trump, right? Gross. Hey, glad you got the coffee, brother man. I see. Neo-Nazi Telegram, also known as Telegram. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, I got shot at. And you know what? I'll give it as much attention during this stream as the nation did, his collective assassination attempts. Another Republican tried to shoot at him on a golf course. And then later, this one, we barely covered. It didn't even get a full show here on WYCD. Then later, a sheriff says that they believe they apprehended a third would-be assassin. That third one, also a right-winger. A sovereign citizen. That's not exactly a left-wing delusion, is it? No, that's a right-wing one. What does that tell you about the character of the dude running for the Republican Party? Here's what I think was happening with all that, by the way. Republicans are in a bubble, and they need to be in order to believe the insane shit they believe. But when they peek their head outside of that bubble and they get a glimpse, either through random chance or somebody, generally trying to reach them, their toxic Republican beliefs, the things that they think their morals are based on, collide with the reality that they're witnessing. And they think, well, I got to go use violence. I got to go shoot this dude. That's unfortunate, but there is a silver lining to it. It tells me that those three people were part of a larger group. I don't think only 3 Republicans pop their head outside of a bubble. I don't think all Republicans are that far gone. I simply think that a lot of Republicans over the last year were getting contacted by family members that didn't have very much to say to them over the last 5 or 6 years, let's say. And they were being shown clips. They were being shown statements. They were being slowly, consistently, and patiently talked to and informed of the things that Fox News was hiding from them. I think that's where we got those 3 would-be assassins. Thank God Republicans are also incompetent, and none of them actually got Trump. Good. That guy's got to face prison. But I think if we see a landslide against Trump this time around, we're going to also find out that the vast majority of the change came from not inspired lefties, but awoken right-wingers. Good news. It didn't stop there. There was the assassination attempts. There was a series of stars coming out to support either side. Here's one that came out to support Kamala Harris.
H-Town. We are so happy to be standing here on this stage as proud country Texas women supporting and celebrating the one and only Vice President Kamala Harris. A woman who's been pushing for what this country really needs right now: unity. It's impossible not to feel the energy in this room, the positivity, the community, the humanity. We are at the precipice of an incredible shift, the brink of history. I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician. I'm here as a mother. A mother who cares deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in. A world where we have the freedom to control our bodies. A world where we're not divided. Our past, our present, our future merge to meet us here. Imagine our daughters growing up seeing what's possible with no ceilings, no limitations. Imagine our grandmothers. Imagine what they feel right now. Those who have lived to see this historic day. Even those who are no longer physically with us. Imagine all of their sacrifice. The sacrifices made so we can witness the strength of a woman standing in her power, reimagining what leadership is. For all the men and women in this room and watching around the country, we need you. Your voice has power and magnitude. Your vote is one of the most valuable tools, and we need you. Your freedom is your God-given right, your human right. Everybody say Texas. Texas plays a pivotal role to change the course of our future. Texans and Houstonians from 3rd Ward, River Oaks, Sugar Land, 5th Ward, Ailey, Memorial, Southwest Side, North Side, all the way down to Mo City.
Now look, there's a lot of energy there. Wicked, Foxy Dragon, champion of Nevada. Good to see you, my friend. if Beyonce can't get you over the finish line, you were toast from day one. Well, that's what I wanted to talk about, because it takes ovaries. It sure does. Hell yeah. Look, it wasn't just Harris though that got celebrity endorsements. All right, we got to be real about this. Trump also got celebrity endorsements. Here's his most famous celebrity endorsement: Hulk Hogan.
I've been on the hamburgers, I've done everything fucking with damn day, and I know the radio on Jackass, he's working with me to make it work. He goes out and really should call her day and do the shit I do. The Southeast record, this black billionaire guy, he's like basically did more for her a year than anybody's done. Okay, he had one song after 10 months to shoot it back, and momentum, but I try to be the realist, and this is your option. You got a better option.
Oh, excuse me. That's not Hulk Hogan endorsing Trump. That is Hulk Hogan recorded saying the N-word multiple times. In 2016, well before Trump accepted his support and invited him to come up on stage. Fortunately, look, Hulk Hogan must have had a come to Jesus moment after that. He must have become a better person after that. Okay, yeah, here's him after that rally selling beer.
You guys need a cocktail? Need some crazy ladies? Need some muscles? Need some money? You need 1 beer? You need 2 beer? You need 3 beers? I got 4 beers? 5 beers? I got a pina colada. A Trader Vic's with a Werewolf of London. His hair was perfect. You want to get crazy? You want me to throw more beers out?
Okay, well, he's ripping off Stone Cold Steve Austin's bit there, but that's fine. That's fine. He's just, whatever. It's wrestling. He's a wrestler. Okay. Let's see what else he has to say.
You want me to body slam somebody? You want me to body slam Kamala Harris?
Well, okay. Look. So Trump didn't pick a great guy to represent him on stage. Okay? He didn't pick a great guy to represent him on stage. Fortunately, he must have learned from that. He must have learned from that, right? It's not like he would pick 2 people to utterly sink his campaign. It's not like you'd pick 2 celebrities to come up on stage and utterly sink his campaign. And who's will be here's his Madison Square Garden opening act, Tony Hinchcliffe.
There's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay. We're getting there. It's absolutely wild to see. And in Texas, stuff is really, really crazy. We're right there by a wide open border. Where are my proud Latinos at tonight? You guys see what I mean? It's wide open. There's so many of them. It's absolutely incredible. Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. It's wild. And these Latinos, they love making babies too. Just know that. They do. They do. There's no pulling out. They don't do that. They come inside, just like they did to our country. Republicans are the party with a good sense of humor.
Whoa, didn't mean to click that. So that didn't go great, and it also didn't cover everything he said. He also accused Palestinians of only ever throwing rocks and Jews of not being able to let go of paper. Real classy guy. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Hello, he has JD Vance as VP and Hulk, Kid Rock, and Elon Musk in his posse. Yeah, imagine the smell of any room those dudes are in, right? How do you bomb so hard, says Pinkerbell, with that crowd, my God. Obsessive Audio, I believe the English word for Tony's performance is dickish. Yeah. Sandy from Environmental Coffee House, the campaign is disgusting. They advocate constantly for violence against women. Foxy with an appropriate reaction, ew. Yeah. In response to your earlier question, Foxy. Oh, well, first of all, we share this feeling. I am also excited and terrified. Excited and terrified. To your earlier question, what did Hulk Hogan say? It could have, maybe that was during the N-word tapes. He was calling somebody who was dating his daughter the N-word multiple times. But in the bar, what he was asking is, do you want me, Hulk Hogan, to body slam Kamala Harris? Here, I'll play that last bit again.
Body slam somebody? You want me to body slam Kamala Harris? I said, do you want me to body slam Kamala Harris? You want me to drop the leg on Kamala? Is Kamala a chameleon? Is she Indian? Okay, I like it. Ow. I will get heat for that one, brother.
Just to walk you through. Yeah, I didn't show you all the evil the first time around. Just like with Hinchcliffe. That wasn't even all the evil. And Hinchcliffe wasn't the only one saying racist stuff on stage that night. And incidentally, at that thing, it was an America First rally at Madison Square Garden, of which the last America First rally was the actual Nazi Party in America rally. But yes, Hulk Hogan said, do you want me to slam Kamala Harris? And then alluded to the fact that she's Indian, but got the wrong kind of Indian, I think rather intentionally. That's hilarious to a certain degree of ancient racist. Saying how, as though that's, the an Indian greeting. Maybe it is, but to intentionally get those things wrong. Now, I'll occasionally make a joke where I say knee instead of whoa, whoa, but I'm making fun of racists when I do that. Whereas the joke here in Hogan's spiel was simply that she's not white. That's who these people are. Don't ever feel bad for calling them racist. I mean, if you're going to feel bad for calling them racist, it's just because you're being uncreative. You're just stating the facts. But it is a fact. That is what they are. And again, I don't speak for all the voters, only the people running this particular grift, because it has similar symptoms every time. That was way more racist than I remember, says Pinkerbell. The anti-corporatist agreeing. Yeah, it kind of always is. Like, looking back on it, it's always shocking in retrospect how much there is allowed to get away with. Obsessive Audio, totally a fascist rally. They knew it. They loved it. They're fascists. Yeah. Yeah, they're villains. They really are. Keith S. Yo, Jake, I think you forgot about Dana White speaking at the RNC. He's on video slapping his wife. Yeah. Any moment, any one day of Trump's candidacy would utterly end the entire political career of anyone else on earth. Trump is allowed to get away with it only because he is blatantly doing the things that Republicans in the past have subtly tried to do. He blatantly does them. And that means that the Republicans have to either acknowledge that what they were doing was wrong and stop doing it altogether. For example, alluding to race, lying about immigrants, etc., etc. Or go with him on it. And every single time they pick go with him. Mrs. Jens Katz. Hello, hello. There's no such thing as late today, my dear. Thank you for voting. And we're going to watch these results together. One hell of a decade. Jesus Christ. One monster of a decade, I got to tell you. You know, I started in the news in 2015. I went from sales to the newsroom because of this guy. And then I went from the newsroom to here because we cannot seem to learn. And hopefully now, we finally have. We'll find out tonight. At the very least, we'll find out if we have a chance to build a better America tonight. Environmental Coffee House, I know they are racist. You should see my Facebook arguments with these people that I've known for years. Everything is about the immigration issue. They hate everyone. Oh, that's a shame. Del Martinez, hola, also late, sorry. No, there's no such thing as late today, my friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Been a long-ass decade. We just need him gone. Yes, yes, tonight, no matter what, we're done with Trump rallies. We are done with Trump candidacies. Even if Trump takes over and becomes dictator, he's not going to run again. Ugh. Yeah. Pitchforks Dragon. Facebook arguments with racist is why I quit Facebook. I do not blame you. Well, those were the celebrity endorsements. Following up to the Madison Square Garden rally, which finally brings us to tonight. As y'all know, we are looking at... Wait a minute. We are looking at... Am I even showing this? I'm not showing this. 7 swing states. 7 swing states. Nevada, Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. If Harris wins either the Sun Belt or the Rust Belt, which tend to vote in blocks together, she's got the whole ding-dang election. I believe if she wins any 4 of those, she's got the whole ding-dang election. We are looking at the results in these states throughout the night. But I do want to be clear. I don't think we're going to have a definite result tonight. Here's why. It's actually good news. 80 million people. Count it. Say it again. 80 million people voted early. It's a real good sign for Democrats. That is an active electorate, and it tends to mean a Democrat victory on the horizon. We will see. We will see. When did we start calling Klan rallies Trump rallies? When they nominated a candidate. Great question. Environmental Coffee House. The majority reports live in half an hour, but I don't know if I want to watch the election stuff all night. It's nothing against you, Jake. It's just stress. Now, I understand. Hey, Sandy, no worries, my friend. No worries. Don't feel obligated. You know, you do. Let me tell y'all, I don't know. I'm not going to be so sure. I feel you. And let me address this first, Sandy. 80 million. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. No, but Sandy, look. I was talking with another member of the Wicked community recently, and we're just being real about burnout and about finding the energy to do what must be done for the next 4 years and the 4 years after that, and so on and so forth. And just the reality that it's very likely that we'll spend the rest of our lives repairing the damage done over the last 40 years. Do what you can when you can. And don't help the bad guys out by feeling bad about what you can't do. I've seen your show. Folks, if you're not subscribed to Environmental Coffee House, I can tell you, you ought to. You put together a comprehensive, entertaining show about the number one concern of every living being on Earth, which is climate change, which will kill us if we do not stop it. You've done your part. Keep doing it. And thank you for stopping by, but don't feel obligated to work always. Rest matters too, my friend. On that, there's two ways the rest of tonight can go. And I'll be real with you. I could go either way on this. One second. There's two ways this could go. Do we just stream straight on till dawn, baby? Or do we end at 7, dump this stream into the Majority Report stream, and watch our dear friend, Matt Strackbine, a.k.a. the Letter Hack, share a stage with Sam Seder? Or at least be in the same room as Sam Seder. Well, they do election night coverage. Now, here's the deal. No matter what, I will be drunk right around 11 p.m. And I'm going to come on and do a lovely drunk stream because I feel like we earned it. God damn it. We earned it. I'm going to put away the better part of this case of Bud with y'all present. Yeah. But I do think it would be fun to support Matt. We also are not going to get the first results for several hours. And I wouldn't mind hanging out in the comments with you. Plus, this is real talk, this is just practical thinking. If we raid the Majority Report stream at 7 o'clock, that little message that goes up in the chat, it's going to be great advertisement for this show. Worth considering. On the other hand, we could hang out together. I like that. Nostrovia. Oh, 1 second. Steve Kornacki showing something. Not results. No, he couldn't be showing results. There aren't any results yet. No, he's not showing results. Salud. All right, let's see what that is. Let's check out that poll. All right, gang. We're going to go for another half an hour, and then I'm going to end this first stream. We are absolutely doing another stream tonight. But I'm going to end this first stream by dumping into the Majority Report with Sam Cedar. And also support Matt, who is... I can't tell you how tickled I am. He really did letter hack his way into whatchamacallit, the stage. 1 second. Hold up, gang. I'm pulling up the link. I'm setting this up so that we hopefully fall in there. Election night with MR Crew. Ba 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 dun dun. Oh, I can't. Redirect privileges needed. Huh. Okay. So I can't set it up to automatically go there. But I'll tell you what I can do. I'll put this up in the chat. Annie Fitzgerald, may I please ask for a small favor? No. Yes, Annie, I'm kidding. Of course you can. What's going on? Ask away, Annie. Ooh, raid Dan. Well, that's the thing. All right. I'll raid Dan, but the after party is officially at the Majority Report. No offense to Dan. I was watching his. I was with you guys watching his show earlier. Dan from the internet. Dan. The internet. All right, we are set up to raid Dan after this. Where's Annie? Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Big favors or nothing. Go big or go bigger. I like that a lot. Oh, he invited me. I said I would get a ticket at the time, but I was going to work the election. Remember, then it was too late. It's a 7.5 hour drive, though. Yeah, Annie, I do not see the favor. Ask away, my friend. On this, the day of my Kamala's election, I cannot deny a favor. Also, I like it. So I'm probably going to do it anyway. All right. So before we wrap this stream up, we got another 20 minutes. There is something I do want to talk to you guys about. I want to talk about how it went. Did we agree with the Democrats' strategy this time around? These are the people we're both going to be and be against in the coming year. Will we be playing drinking games? Oh, that's a genius idea. I will be looking up drinking games while we're waiting for Matt to jump on stage. Because yes is the answer. Yes, we have to. Well done, Mrs. Jens Katz. But yeah, how did we do? How did the Democrats do? I actually thought they did fantastic. Number one, replace Joe Biden. Let's not forget that so quickly. That was a hell of a thing for them to do. Unprecedented, but necessary. It was the correct choice, and they did it. Number 2, they picked Tim Walz. They could have gone with a whole lot of boring choices, a whole lot of destructively bad choices, a whole lot of known liars. They went with Tim Walz. Great pick. All right, to be continued. We're doing the Annie thing. Can you please ask folks to follow my Twitch, The Disabled Proletariat? I'm 11 followers away. 11 followers away from affiliate status. Twitch.com. 1 second. I don't know if you can see this. Look at this. Can you see this in the tab? Oh, you can't. Well, the very first thing that comes up when I type
Hello, everyone. We are
is The Disabled Proletariat. Am I following you? Yes, I am already following you. 11 followers away, gang. Got to get to 50. Head on down to twitch.com/The Disabled Proletariat and follow Annie because she's groovy and we like her. Obsessive audio. Yeah. She did everything necessary to win. Foxy is in agreement. Yes, and in record time, too. Yeah. The Harris campaign was masterful. And there's a lot of folks that disagree with a lot of things that she did. And that's fine. But the disagreements are in matters of strategy, which I'm okay with. What she didn't do is blatantly stupid things. She didn't shoot herself in the foot. If she took risks, they were calculated. She didn't F around with our time. She didn't lie to us blatantly, at least. She walked frankly, a knife's edge, an incredibly thin line. And she did so perfectly. If she didn't beat Trump, if we don't find out that she beat Trump, then fuck America. With my whole heart, my full chest, and my numb left arm, fuck America. Because you could not have asked for a better run campaign. I think the problems with the Democrats this time around, for once, shockingly, for once, was not in campaigning, but actually was just in their stances. Frankly, the genocide in Gaza was a bag on their hip, and it needn't have been there, but it was. This is not stuff that will be solved within the Democrats as they exist now. So it's not a complaint that I'm going to level at them because it's not what they're about. They're a center-right party. So I can't, if we accept that about the Democratic Party, if we know that to be true, then I can't be angry that they were acting center-right, that their policies were center-right. Center-right, I should say. I am a progressive. I have different values than they have. So the thing for me to do, and the thing I recommend we do, assuming Harris wins this thing, is start building the Progressive Party. Join one, or unite several, or carve one out of the Democrats, or all of those things. But we start building the Progressive Party, because at that point, then we can actually shave down the politics to something that we want. Jake, are you having a heart attack? I have been having a heart attack for about 3 years. Yeah, her not taking the bait triggered him so much. It's true. It's absolutely true. It was amazing. Hey, Miss Jen's Cats. Just subscribed to you on YouTube. I just canceled my Twitch. Well, fair enough. But yeah, the point being, the Democrats, in terms of campaign strategy, were, for once, just about flawless. As an organization, they knocked it out of the park. They really did. The things that I disagree with are matters of policy, which I disagree with strongly, of course. But the answer for that is not to ask them to campaign differently. The campaigning that they did was great. It's a great strategy. And now the true answer is beat Republicans so badly that they are a non-issue in the upcoming election and become the party we've always wanted to be. Create it if necessary. And I think it probably is necessary. But wonderful problems to have. And beginning locally, beginning with the very next election. The very next election is when people with zero experience in politics, but a lot of knowledge and a lot of heart, and not with a numb left arm, because we've established I am too dumb for this, but I'm going to help you guys with running my mouth in your favor. A lot of folks signing up to be politicians at the local level. Sign up with earnest beliefs and a plan to rise. You have to be the change. It has to be people who aren't already in power, because the people who are in power currently have made their decisions. Now, we can woo some of them away. We really can. We can pull a few of the more progressive Democrats out of that party and into the new one, and that'll be good. But the fact is, they're not leaders, or they would be leading. So we need an army of people at the local level. In 2 years, we have new elections. It's like the Summer and Winter Olympics. So that's our next goal. That's the next thing we work to. And tonight, we celebrate a hard-fought campaign, a hard-fought, for some of us, career changes. For some of us, hours and hours of our lives dedicated in a room with a bunch of other folks, deciding how we're gonna try to make the world better. For some of us, pounding the pavement, walking from door to door to door. For most of us, writing emails that we never thought we'd write to people we never thought we'd talk to. Just trying anything we can, wherever we can, whenever we can, with what we have. Try to fix this thing. I don't know if we were successful. Tonight, we're going to find out together. At least we'll get a hint. But no matter what happens, I'm proud of you. All of it. I really am. I don't know if people as a whole are bad or good. And I hope that deep down they are. But I know you all are wonderful. And I'm proud to know you. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. My name is Jake. I'm going to end this stream by going to Dan from the Internet, another good fellow. And then in a little bit, I'll see you guys over at the Majority Report, where we watch Matt step onto the big stage. This is Donald James X.